What if you can make money while you sleep without lifting a finger? There's lots of passive income ideas on YouTube, and if you've tried any of them like I have, you're going to quickly realize that none of them are truly passive, or you need an insane amount of starting money just to make it worth it. However, I might have found something that could be an actual money-making machine, and it's all on autopilot. It won't cost you a fortune to get started, you don't need to spend any time learning about complex topics, and it takes less than 10 minutes to set up. It sounds way too good to be true, so I decided to give it a try. What I'm talking about is Bookie Bandit. This is a sports betting bot that automatically copies the bets of profitable sports bettors, so all you need to do is download the program, run it on your computer, and watch your winnings roll in. Here's the thing though, I don't know anything about sports, let alone sports betting, but it seems like I don't have to, because I'm gonna be leaving all of it to the experts. And I hope I don't regret it, because I'm gonna be putting $500 on the line to see if this bot will lose me money or if it actually works. Full disclosure, the Bookie Bandit team gave me a free license key for this bot, but as per usual, they cannot tell me what to say in this video, so everything you see here is my own opinion and my actual experience. First, I need to make an account on the betting platform. PrizePicks is the main platform that this bot supports. Everything looks all well and good until I ran into my first issue. When I was about to deposit the money into my account, it just kept on logging me out. Every time I tried to log in, it would just bring me back to the homepage over and over again. So I decided to hit up the chat line and I was like, yo, why is it not letting me log in? And they asked, what state am I in? And I said, New York. They replied with, you can no longer play in New York for real funds. So before closing the chat, I said, thank you, have a good day. I guess I can't do this after all. Until I looked at the Bookie Bandit Discord and I noticed they have a simple step-by-step method to bypass any of these restrictions. And ultimately, you'd be able to participate from anywhere in Canada or the USA. You can technically do this from any region, but you're gonna have to find your own workarounds. After a few short minutes, I was able to successfully deposit $500 into my account. Installation of the bot was also pretty straightforward. You just need to download it, put in your credentials, and the amount that you want to bet per unit. I'll start off with $25. You can think of units like casino chips, except the casino chip can be whatever amount of money you want it to be. Since I'm betting $25 per unit, if I bet 1 unit, my betting size will be $25. If I bet 2 units, my betting size will be $50. Although this concept is important to understand, you don't have to worry about how many units to place per bet, because the bettors will be the ones to assign how many units they decide to go with. But typically, each bet would be anywhere from 0.25 units to 1 unit. Sometimes it can get as high as 3 units, but it's not too common. I can theoretically just run this bot as it is, but I am not a gambling man. So let me give you a bit of insight into how this bot really works. Ultimately, it follows the bets of certain Discord channels that you have access to. So theoretically, I don't have to run the bot to see if this would have made me money. I can simply go to some of the Discord channels that this bot pulls its information from and check to see their win rates. What I want to do is tell the bot to follow only the bets of the Discord channels that have very high win rates. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to show you guys the exact settings that I used. After all, if this bot is just going to be running in the background, all I really care about is low risk, long-term profitability. Once that's done, I just got to press this green play button, and right here, it's saying we are waiting for incoming bets. Sure enough, within just a few hours, the first set of bets started to come in. And now, we wait. As we are letting that play out, I wanted to have a look at staff recommendations. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the recommended risk management strategies were not too different from that of trading. Many traders exercise what's called the 1% rule. This means that any trade should not risk more than 1% of your total account size. And under their bankroll guide, this is highlighted as well. Even though a few bets were already placed at $25 per unit, I decided to just follow the guide. I changed my unit size to $10, which would be 2% of my account. Unfortunately, for the bets that were already placed, I can't change those anymore, but for future bets, it's $10 a unit. Honestly, these bets are taking quite a while to play out, so I decided to just call it a day and check back tomorrow. I then woke up to this. Let's go! And a few hours later, let's go! In less than 24 hours after setting up the bot, I made $75. That is unbelievable. And then later that night, one of the bets get refunded and one of the bets lose. Over the next few days, I just leave the bot running in the background while I do other work. I was honestly very skeptical about this whole thing, but to my surprise, this bot just wins and wins and wins and wins and more wins. Here is the full Discord webhook log, along with the full transactions history on my PrizePicks account, so you can see that this is not fake. I could hardly believe it myself. Finally, the win streak was broken. But it's expected. When it comes to any activity that involves placing bets, such as trading and obviously sports betting, the goal isn't to always be correct, because that's obviously impossible. The goal is to have what's called positive expectancy. To calculate this, there's some math involved. But to put it simply, positive expectancy means that on average, the strategy is expected to generate profit over time. The size of these bets are pretty similar, usually only 1 unit. The risk to reward ratio is usually 1:1 through 1:2. So for most bets, you will double your money, but for some bets, you can triple your money. With these factors in mind, even with a consistent 50% win rate, you would still have a positive expectancy. But what you also want to factor into your profit calculations are your fixed expenses. So if you're running this bot, it's gonna cost you about $100 a month. So you need to win at least $100 to break even. But here is what's really interesting. If the Bookie Bandit team didn't profit for the month, then you can ask to have your renewal fee refunded for that month. Unfortunately, this is just a one-time use, but either way, it incentivizes the Bookie Bandit team to not screw up their bets. There's going to be more information in the description about that, so make sure to read about it there. As I continue to run this bot, I continue to win and also continue to lose, but definitely a lot more wins than losses. After 14 days, I stopped the bot to let all of the ongoing bets play out so that I can show you the results of how much money I've made running this bot for only 2 weeks. In 3, 2, 1. So my account went from $500 to $694.25. I'm just gonna round it up to $700 because when I deposited the $500, I used a 2% cashback credit card, and that basically gave me a free $10. So that is $200 profit. Percentage-wise, my return on investment was a staggering 40% over a 2-week period, which is mind-blowing. And all I had to do was set it up that one time and press play at the start of each day. It can't get any easier than that. Keep in mind though that since my PrizePicks account was new, I'm pretty sure I received some bonus credits that probably helped contributed to getting these fast results. Regardless though, this is pretty good. By the way, in case you were wondering, you can't just deposit money with a credit card and then just withdraw it right away so that you can take advantage of the cash back. I'll explain why later. This is crazy important, so make sure to watch until the very end of this video. Before I attempt to withdraw my winnings from PrizePicks into my actual bank account, there's some important information that you guys need to know. There are no guarantees that if you pick up this bot today, that you're just gonna start printing like I did. You can obviously lose money, and if you don't adhere to the sizing recommendations that I spoke about earlier, then you could lose all of your money. 14 days in the grand scheme of things is such a short period of time. It's possible that I just got lucky, so I'm really curious to know how my profits would look like maybe 6 months down the line, a year down the line, 2 to 3 years down the line, just the general long-term viability of this bot. But I do have to say, so far so good. Now, if you want to run your bot in the same exact way that I ran my bot, here's what I would do. Earlier, I mentioned that the bot costs $100 a month. You can instead pay $70 for a Polar Chef's membership, and this will grant you access to 3 things. Number 1, a free month to Bookie Bandit. Number 2, free access to the Tail It Sports Betting Discord server. And number 3, all of our other perks and opportunities that help you make money online. Tail It will give you access to more channels that you can tell your Bookie Bandit bot to follow. So if you're in both Tail It and Bookie Bandit, you can get more bets, potentially allowing you to earn more money. If you're a Tail It member, by default, your Bookie Bandit bot is going to follow all of the supported channels. But at the time of recording, AntBets had the highest win rate. So basically, we're going to press stop tailing on all of these channels except for AntBets. Now, if the win rates on the other channels start to pick up, then I might consider turning those back on sometime in the future. But for now, we're just going with AntBets. Keep in mind that your bot will still be pushing out bets from the Bookie Bandit Discord server. It's just that now you get additional bets from Ant's channel in the Tail It server as well. And if you don't want to do any of that, that's perfectly fine too. You should still get decent results from the standalone Bookie Bandit bot. Of course, nothing's guaranteed. So in the description of this video, I have an affiliate link that will give you a 5-day, 100% free trial. But just keep in mind that if you claim this 5-day free trial, you no longer have access to the 30-day free trial that's offered within Polar Chefs. I'm sure you guys heard about people getting banned or kicked out of casinos because they win too much. PrizePicks does something similar. To my knowledge, they won't kick you out, but once they see that you're winning a lot of money, then they could limit the amount of bets that you can make or the amount of money that you can place per bet. Unfortunately, PrizePicks doesn't have any public documentation regarding when exactly they decide to limit accounts or by how much, but thankfully, this doesn't seem to be that much of an issue. This seems to mostly affect bettors that have several $100 unit sizes. Typically, you wouldn't set your unit size that high unless you got like 30K in your account or unless you're a degenerate gambler, so these limits won't apply to most people. My experience trying this out was great, but unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Throughout the 2 weeks that I was running this bot, there were a few hiccups. Error messages were quite common and I just basically ignored them, and the bot still seemed to be functioning just fine. I still received the bets that were called out and nothing bad really happened. Sometimes I would miss a few bets here and there, but I wouldn't care too much, as long as I got at least most of the bets. The only annoying part really was the webhook spam. Occasionally too, there would be server issues on the bot's end that made it so that you can't log in once you close out of it. That's another thing that I didn't like too much. You need to have this bot running at all times, which means you need to have your computer turned on for extended periods of time. If you don't want to use as many resources on your computer, they also have a CLI version of the bot, which is quite nice. And you also have the option of running it on a virtual private server. The problem with this is that most server IP addresses are banned on PrizePicks. On the plus side, there is proxy support, so if you're a sneaker botter or whatever, then it might be a bit easier for you to do this. Now, the way I personally ran this bot was a little bit different, and I think my method helped contributed to my smooth experience. Basically, I had a local Windows 11 virtual machine that I deployed using Hyper-V. This way, number one, when I turn off my computer, the virtual machine keeps a save state so that when I turn it back on, it basically just picks up where it left off, as if the virtual machine never shut off to begin with. In other words, I was mostly unaffected by a lot of the login issues that I was talking about earlier. And number two, this makes it so that it's less likely for me to accidentally close out of the bot since it's separate from everything else that I'm doing. If you have no idea what any of that techno babble meant,
it's produced by the modial interaction of magnetoreluctance and capacitive diractance.
Don't worry about it. You can just run it on your normal computer like a normal program. And I did it in this manner just because I already had the virtual machine set up, so I didn't have to do any extra work. Another huge issue with this whole thing is that when I tried to withdraw my balance, it didn't let me, because apparently you gotta bet the entire amount that you've deposited before withdrawing it. This isn't like a stock brokerage account where you can put as much money as you want in and basically take it back whenever you want. If you put $500 into the account, you have to bet at least $500 for you to withdraw your money out. And that's also why you can't just credit card rewards farm this thing. I mean, you technically can, but just not immediately. For now, I'm gonna increase my unit size to $25 so I can attempt to withdraw it faster, and at the end of this video, after I reach the threshold, I'll try to withdraw again. At the end of the day, this whole game is a game of probabilities, and if you flip a coin 5 times in a row, there's always a possibility that you lose all 5 coin flips in a row despite a 50% win rate. Now, here's the ultra important thing that I need everyone listening to understand. Don't think that it can't happen to you, losing 5 coin flips in a row, because it absolutely can. That's why sizing of your unit value appropriately is of paramount importance. So that way you can actually stay in the game in the long run rather than blowing up your account in just 3 bets. Personally, I have a feeling that I got really lucky with the timing of when I decided to try out this bot, because the stats that I got on it are absolutely unbelievable. If we could keep this up, that would be insane. I could be wrong, but it's just based on my observation looking back at the previous months. A few days later, I won some bets and lost some bets, and our account is now at 720 bucks. So let's try to move it all into my bank account. Under normal circumstances, I'd probably just withdraw my winnings rather than the entire amount, but I do want to have some peace of mind knowing that in the event where I did need to withdraw the whole thing, I would have no problems doing so. I'll just add more funds to this later on. Alright, looks like it went through, and 5 minutes later I got this email saying that my withdrawal was approved. Checked my bank account a few hours later, and just like that, I'm about $220 richer. So again, if you do want to try this out, all of the links will be in the description. If you learned something new or found this entertaining, subscribe, like the video, do the thingy mabobbies down there, and yeah, see you next time.